I spoke about this at length earlier this year at the NAACP. And I explained the long history of inequity in our criminal justice system. We all know the statistics. And this summer, because I wanted to highlight that there were human beings behind these statistics, I visited a prison in Oklahoma, the first president to ever visit a federal prison. And I sat down with the inmates, and I listened to their stories. And one of the things that struck me was the crushing burden their incarceration has placed not just on their prospects for the future, but also for their families, the women in their lives. Children being raised without a father in the home, the crushing regret these men felt over the children that they left behind. Mass incarceration rips apart families. It hollows out neighborhoods. It perpetuates poverty. We understand that in many of our communities, they're underpoliced. The problem is not that we don't want active, effective police work. We want and admire and appreciate law enforcement. We want them in our communities. Crime hurts the African American community more than anybody. But we want to make sure that it's done well and it's done right, and it's done fairly and it's done smart. And that's why, in the coming months, I'm going to be working with many in Congress and many in the CBC to try to make progress on reform legislation that addresses unjust sentencing laws. And encourages diversion and prevention programs, catches our young people early and tries to put them on a better path. And then helps ex-offenders, after they've done their time, get on the right track. It's the right thing to do for America. And although in these discussions a lot of my focus has been on African American men and the work we're doing with my brother's keeper, we can't forget the impact that the system has on women, as well. The incarceration rate for black women is twice as high as the rate for white women. Many women in prison, you come to discover, have been victims of homelessness and domestic violence, and in some cases human trafficking. They've got high rates of mental illness and substance abuse. And many have been sexually assaulted, both before they got to prison and then after they go to prison. And we don't often talk about how society treats black women and girls before they end up in prison. They're suspended at higher rates than white boys and all other girls. And while boys face the school to prison pipeline, a lot of girls are facing a more sinister sexual abuse to prison pipeline. Victims of early sexual abuse are more likely to fail in school. Which can lead to sexual exploitation, which can lead to prison. So we're focusing on boys, but we're also investing in ways to change the odds for at-risk girls to make sure that they are loved and valued, to give them a chance. And that's why we have to make a collective effort to address violence and abuse against women in all of our communities. In every community, on every campus, we've got to be very clear, women who have been victims of rape or domestic abuse. who need help, should know that they can count on society and on law enforcement to treat them with love and care and sensitivity, and not skepticism. I want to repeat because somehow this never shows up on Fox News. So I just want to repeat, because somehow this never gets on the TV. There is no contradiction between us caring about our law enforcement officers and also making sure that our laws are applied fairly. Do not make this as an either/or proposition. This is a both/and proposition. We want to protect our police officers. We'll do a better job doing it if our communities can feel confident that they are. Being treated fairly. I hope I'm making that clear. I hope I'm making that clear. We need to make sure the laws are applied evenly. This is not a new problem. It's just that in recent months, in recent years, suddenly folks have videos and body cameras, and social media, and so it's opened our eyes to these incidents. And many of these incidents are subject to ongoing investigation, so I can't comment on every specific one. But we can't avoid these tough conversations altogether. That's not going to help our police officers, the vast majority who do the right thing every day. By just pretending that these things aren't happening. That's not going to help build trust between them and the communities in which they serve. So these are hard issues, but I'm confident we're going to move forward together for a system that is fairer and more just. We've got good people on both sides of the aisle that are working with law enforcement. and local communities to find a better way forward. And as always, change will not happen overnight. It won't be easy. But if our history has taught us anything, it's taught us that when we come together, when we're working with a sense of purpose, when we are listening to one another, when we assume the best in each other rather than the worst, then change happens. Like every parent, I can't help to see the world increasingly through my daughter's eyes. And on that day, when we were celebrating that incredible march in Selma, I had MS. Amelia's hand in one of my hands, but Michelle had Sasha's hand. And my mother-in-law had Malia's hand, and it was a chain across generations. And I thought about all those women who came before us. Who risked everything for life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness, so often without notice, so often without fanfare. Their names never made the history books. All those women who cleaned somebody else's house, or looked after somebody else's children, did somebody else's laundry. And then got home and did it again, and then went to church and cooked, and then they were marching. And because of them, Michelle could cross that bridge. And because of them, they brought them along, and Malia and Sasha can cross that bridge. And that tells me that if we follow their example, we're going to cross more bridges in the future. If we keep moving forward, hand in hand, God willing. My daughter's children will be able to cross that bridge in an America that's more free, and more just. And more prosperous than the one that we inherited. Your children will, too. Thank you, CBC. God bless you. God bless this country we love. Thank you. Barack Obama. 21 Colombian pesos, Session 1 address. Delivered November 30, 2015, Le Bourget, Paris, France. President Hollande, Mr. Secretary General, fellow leaders. We have come to Paris to show our resolve. We offer our condolences to the people of France for the barbaric attacks on this beautiful city. We stand united in solidarity not only to deliver justice to the terrorist network responsible for those attacks but to protect our people and uphold the enduring values that keep us strong and keep us free. And we salute the people of Paris for insisting this crucial conference go on an act of defiance that proves nothing will deter us from building the future we want for our children. What greater rejection of those who would tear down our world than marshalling our best efforts to save it? Nearly 200 nations have assembled here this week, a declaration that for all the challenges we face, the growing threat of climate change could define the contours of this century more dramatically than any other. What should give us hope that this is a turning point? That this is the moment we finally determined we would save our planet, is the fact that our nations share a sense of urgency about this challenge and a growing realization that it is within our power to do something about it. Our understanding of the ways human beings disrupt the climate advances by the day. "14 of the 15 warmest years on record have occurred since The year 2000 and 2015 is on pace to be the warmest year of all. No nation, large or small, wealthy or poor, is immune to what this means. This summer, I saw the effects of climate change firsthand in our northernmost state, Alaska. Where the sea is already swallowing villages and eroding shorelines, where permafrost thaws and the tundra burns. Where glaciers are melting at a pace unprecedented in modern times. And it was a preview of one possible future, a glimpse of our children's fate if the climate keeps changing faster than our efforts to address it. Submerged countries. Abandoned. Cities. Fields that no longer grow. Political disruptions that trigger new conflict. And even more floods of desperate people seeking the sanctuary of nations not their own. That future is not one of strong economies, nor is it one where fragile states can find their footing. That future is one that we have the power to change. Right here. Right now. But only if we rise to this moment. As one of America's governors has said, we are the first generation to feel the impact of climate change, and the last generation that can do something about it. I've come here personally, as the leader of the world's largest economy and the second largest emitter. To say that the United States of America not only recognizes our role in creating this problem, we embrace our responsibility to do something about it.